Hey YouTube land, Connors here, welcoming you back to another action figure review. And today we're having a look at something new well, at the time of this recording, in 2024. This is a new figure by the company called Hiya Toys. So if you're familiar with Hiya Toys, they have done, in the past, they have done previous figure lines such as RoboCop, Aliens, Predator, to name but a few. They've also dabbled in Star Trek. I haven't picked up any of the Star Trek figures yet, but I will. I do intend to pick up one or two at some point. But today we are looking at their step into the Hasbro licensed. Now these are officially licensed out by Hasbro for Hiya Toys. These are Gi Joe figures, and they're done in the 4-inch or 3 3/4-inch scale. So they have been out for a little bit. This is one of the later wave figures. I don't have any of the other ones. This is my first delve into these, into this figure line. So it's not, it is something I'm interested in, but it's something I wasn't, well, I wouldn't say I wasn't pushed to get, because I do have a lot of Gi Joe stuff. It's just the characters that I had seen previously didn't blow me away, and it was when this character came out. I'm a big fan of Destro, always have been, so I picked up the Destro figure as my first outing. So on the back of the card back, you have images of the figure just in different poses. You have the exquisite mini, and then you have all the kind of legalese stuff. Unlike the standard Gi Joe card backs where you had a cross sell of artwork of different characters available, this is just purely the character in this particular box. The artwork on the cover is quite nice. You can see Destro there, kind of in a a victory pose, I suppose you could say, holding the collar of his jacket or his coat with both hands. And he does come with accessories. So he is on a clamshell style packaging, so obviously if you're opening these things up, you will end up taking or ripping that artwork. It is a shame because it is kind of cool artwork. I think it is unique to this packaging. I don't think it was reused from the classified figures, and the reason I say that we'll get into that in a second. So on the default, when he comes in the packaging, he comes with just two alternate hands. He has kind of sword grip hands, or just grip hands on the offset when you get him, and then he comes with a replaceable left and right trigger finger hand. So as I speak, I have his right trigger finger hand in, because his kind of grip hand is best for holding his satchel or his case that he comes with. And if I open up that case, it has the Cobra logo beautifully printed on 3 sides of it. So you have on the outside here twice, and then it opens up to reveal that Cobra logo once more. And on the inside, you actually have storage for his other 2 weapons. Now he does have a leg holster on the side of his leg, and as you can see on the card art, he has this large rifle. If I just pull it out, this large rifle is actually embedded into this thing on the card art. It is a little bit hard to do, but it is doable. You can have that pistol in that side, or you can put the gold pistol in there. It has this slight foam lined interior for the casing, which is, or the briefcase, which is quite nice, and you can close that up. So you can have him with this on one of his holsters, or on his holster, and then have him hold that briefcase just as per normal. As with every other line that they've done so far, with the exception of the very first Alien Colonial Marines line, they did include stands, but it was when they got really into the alien stands, or into the alien figures and the Predator figures, they started doing these stands. They are different. to a normal. So you have the Gi Joe related characters, trademarks, Hasbro, blah blah blah, used within permission 2024. So I didn't take them out of the box, but because I have another stand here, this is from one of the Judge Dredd figures. In fact, they have done a Judge Dredd line as well. So it comes with these I clips or H clips, whichever way. If you want to put them that way, they're I clips. If you want to put it this way, they're H clips. It's up to yourself. But this is the base that you get with Destro. So it's fairly minimalistic. It has a peg for his foot. He has one, well, he does have peg holes on both feet, but there's only one peg on the stand. It has kind of like shells and a bit of debris on it compared to that of the 2000 AD style bases, which has the cursed, I believe it's supposed to be the cursed earth, and has like bones and stuff. The Predator ones is just like a mud flat. The Alien ones is like a grid, and the RoboCop ones is like a cityscape or like a sidewalk, if I remember correctly. So you have that, but all in all, he is a nice figure. So I'm going to bring my tape measure in so you can see how tall he stands. So he stands just around he's a little bit 4.5 inches. Now, I think the reason why he's tall is because Destro is always depicted as a taller character. So here is the retro version of Cobra Commander. He's slightly customized, my version. The reason being is I gave him a chrome head off one of the older figures. It uses the same head. I just swapped out the plain silver for a chrome plate, which makes him look far better. And here he is next to, I believe this is the 50th anniversary version of Destro. So if I bring in the tape measure again, you can see Cobra Commander stands in around that little bit, around the 4-inch height. He's just a little bit taller, and then the older version of Destro is like a 4.25, 4 1/3 in height. So he is that. And then for another 1/18 scale, well, supposed 1/18 scale, if I can get him out without knocking everything down, here is one of the 1/18 scale Imperial Guard Astra Militarum Tempest Scion figures. So you see the 40k Joy Toy figures are way chunky compared to, like, they are still in scale, but they're in a more, I wouldn't say comic scale, but they're more of a more chunky, blocky scale. And then for something else, there, and you just fallen over it. Do I have anything else that is in scale? I do have something that's from the RoboCop line that they did. I'll bring him in. Hopefully he won't fall over. There is Kane from RoboCop 2, so you can see he is in scale with that as well. So comparisons aside, we'll try and keep this review fairly short and sweet because it is fairly one side or fairly small figure. We'll just run down his articulation. So I'm going to move that aside and then we'll run down his articulation. So his arms can rotate up all the way around. They do have a slight butterfly joint. They can hinge up that much. There is a upper bicep swivel. There is a double jointed elbow, which is quite good. You get over 90-degree bend. The hands are on wrist pegs. Sure, don't want to pull them in case. You're better off heating them up if you want to swap them out. Just in case the peg snaps. In colder weather, when things get a bit colder, it is always best to heat them up. He does have the wrist rockets on one side and the grenades aren't on the opposite side, and we'll get into the reason for that in a minute. He does have a double jointed waist system, so he has an upper diaphragm joint with rotation, and then he has the waist itself and can move forward and back. Head is on a ball joint. You can get great range of movement. My only one gripe about his paint applications, and it's more to do with his neck joint, is that his neck is supposed to be made of the same material that his head is, and it's a way brighter. It doesn't seem to have the darker wash on it. I'm not sure if that's just mine or it's just the way it's constructed, that they didn't put the wash over the neck area, but you can see the difference in color between the head and the neck itself. Again, it could be just mine issue. My one has that QC issue, but you can see the collar and on his back. Now he doesn't have a peg hole on his back. Some of the older figures had peg holes on their back so they could hold their accessories. These guys do not seem to have that. Well, Destro doesn't seem to have that. I'm not sure about other figures, because there is figures like Lady J. They've done a bunch of G.I. Joe figures like Flint, Lady J, Beachhead, and they all have backpacks. So I'm not sure if they have a peg system for their backpack. I haven't checked that out. But you get a split on the legs. Now, it is worth mentioning that this holster piece is kind of attached to the waist belt. It is a separate piece. I'm going to pull his pistol out of the holster if I can, just so you can see his leg. So it will move on the leg. It is a separate piece, but just be wary that this is a rubber material. Over time it could deteriorate and it might snap off, so there is that. He does have a thigh swivel. He also has a rotation on the hip. He does have double jointed knees. Doesn't get a full 90-degree bend on that, but he gets close to. He doesn't have boot swivel, but he does have rocker ankles, and again those aforementioned pegs on his feet, and he is pretty damn posable. I will throw his pistol into his hand so you can see it in his hand. He can hold that laser pistol, or whatever you want to call it, in his hand. He can also hold, he can dual wield if you have both trigger finger hands put in, or you can have him just hold his attaché case. I think it's called attaché case, or whatever, briefcase, attaché case, whatever way you want to call it. So it is a pretty damn good figure. Again, as I said, it's my first outing into these figures, or into this particular line of figures, so I don't have anything else, any of the other figures to compare it with. I will bring in something of interest. Most people will already know this and recognize this, but if I bring in the Classified series sculpt, now this is Profit Director Destro, or PDD, which they have done a repaint of this figure already in these colors. As far as I'm aware, it was a convention exclusive. I think it might be San Diego Comic-Con. I could be wrong, but I know there is a convention, or a exclusive version of this figure in this color scheme. And the reason I'm bringing this out now is you can see the similarities in the sculpting, and the reason behind this is all the figures that Hiya have produced so far in this scale and in this line, they're all shrunk down versions of the Gi Joe Classified versions of the sculpts. So they're not basing they're not just rehashing these older designs or the kind of more familiar 3 1/4 inch designs. They're actually what they're doing, which I think is interesting, and I think it works on some levels. Now, I know not everyone loved some of the Classified figures, especially figures like Roadblock. They weren't too impressed with. There was a couple of versions of Roadblock, and it took them a while to get the right kind of look to him. But characters like Destro here, he's literally just a scaled down version of this 3 2/4 or 6 inch figure. He even has like nearly the same articulation points. He has the double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He even has the same briefcase, with the exception of this guy has on the inside of his case, it has like it's like a computer set up with dollars instead of I prefer this setup that has a storage for his weapons if you don't want him having them in his holster. As you can see, I have that gold pistol in this version's holster. I do not believe this version came with the laser rifle gun, because he comes with a pair of sunglasses and a burning he's like burning a wad of cash as well, so he comes with that, which I have stored in here. I don't want to open it up in case they go flying. And he also comes with this cloak accessory, this leopard print cloak. So I think they omitted the laser pistol for all the extra stuff you get with this one. I do believe that the Hiya Toys version still comes with the pistol or the 2 pistols, and has the cloak as well. So, and it is in this color scheme with the leopard print and the kind of maroon uniform, which is a cool nod. It is interesting to note as well that this guy isn't exactly the same color scheme as the Classified Destro. The Classified Destro has a very dark color scheme. It's almost gray and grayish black with black, whereas they went for a more kind of navy blue and black color scheme. They did reissue that figure again as part of the retro collection line and kind of jigged a few bits and bobs on it, but overall it was just a black, straight out black and silver version of that figure with the red accents. So again, it has been used a couple of times, but it is a really cool figure. Head sculpt on this I love. You can see the kind of green glow in his eyes. Hopefully you can see that. But I really love this figure. Again, if I get a chance, I might get some of the other figures. I know most places seem to be sold out that had pre-orders for them. They seem to sell out before they come into stock, the pre-orders. So I got this guy from Locker Toys, which I'll throw a link in the description below. But nearly all their pre-orders, with the exception of 1 or 2, are sold out. The ones I'm really looking forward to is they're doing a Hiya Toys version of the Cobra Trooper, which I do intend to try and grab one, and they're doing a version of the Viper, and also Crimson Guard, I believe, is another one on their radar. They have done a Tiger Force version of Flint. There is a regular version of Flint. There is a regular version of Beachhead. There is Lady J. Anyone else in the Joe team that I'm thinking of? I do believe there is a Snake Eye, or not Snake Eyes, a Storm Shadow Cobra Commander, who kind of looks more like this design, is also in there. And I think that is it. Oh, there's Baroness as well, which I really want to get my hands on. And I think at the moment that's the whole lineup. I could be wrong, I could be missing. Oh yes, I'm nearly missing one that I want to get as well, which is Firefly, which is more based on his Cobra Island version of the classified figure than the retro version that came out later. But both are pretty cool designs. Overall, really good figure. Do recommend picking them up. I do recommend not going the eBay route if you can at all possible, and try and getting them from reputable vendors. The only reason is most eBay sellers are looking for at least twice or triple the cost of the base cost of these figures. So it is interesting to see how that pans out for them, because as I said, they seem to be sold out in pre-orders, and then people want them after the fact and are having difficulty trying to track them down and finding them, and then having to pay premium prices for these things. So like this guy cost me 25 bucks. I think it was around the 25 buck price, and I've seen him up on eBay for 80 quid, so anywhere between 40 to 80. So there is a significant markup on anyone selling these on eBay, because I think they might be thinking they're Chinese store or Chinese region exclusives, but I don't think they are, because they are available in a few other places. So just shop around if you can. That's my best advice. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please hit that like and subscribe button, and hit the likes so I can gain more followers and more fans and help build my YouTube channel. So thanks for watching all the way to the end, and hope you have a great day. All right, cheers.